Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to extend my sincere appreciation to each of you for being here for this 133rd regular meeting of the ALPA Executive Board to conduct the business of our union and to address the important issues that we currently face. It's great to serve our union alongside all of you. And as I report to you in my role as First Vice President and National Safety Coordinator, our administration hit the ground running, and I must say that pace has not changed. As we're all aware, last week Israel declared a state of war following unprovoked attacks inside its borders. Our aviation security group was on top of the situation from the outset. As we watched and read about the rapidly deteriorating situation, which included multiple rocket attacks, hostages, and widespread death, our focus became the safety and security of our ALPA members. Alongside with security and CHIRP, we engaged cross-pollination across all our carriers who serve Tel Aviv. Some carriers ceased service sooner than others, and we advocated for cessation of Tel Aviv flying while being cognizant of getting our members and people out. A flurry of activity here at ALPA continued around the clock to ensure that our members and other crew members were accounted for and could be evacuated. Working through the ASO, some MEC officers, committee members, governments, and airlines, we were able to determine the safety of all of our members who needed a way out. Within 24 hours, we sent an update to all of our pilots. Similarly, last week, FedEx Flight 1376, a 757, landed gear up in Chattanooga. The captain immediately called the hotline and was connected to our engineering and air safety department. Our hotline team activated the association's resources to support the crew, including notification of the FedEx MEC Central Air Safety Committee, MEC ALPA Legal, or what is sometimes known as Labor Relations Council, and the Critical Incident Response Program. Members of our Accident Investigation Board and staff from the Engineering and Air Safety Department traveled to Chattanooga to support the FedEx MEC Central Air Safety Committee in the NTSB investigation to which ALPA is a party. When I talk about the strength and value of our air safety organization and the engineering and air safety staff that supports it, this is what I'm talking about. It's safety in action, ready to engage when there's a crisis or an emergency. Before I jump into specifics regarding my role as National Air Safety Coordinator, overseeing ALPA's air safety organization, I'd like to highlight two things that have significant bearing on our industry, our profession, and the work that we do as safety advocates. The first is a current battle taking place in Congress over FAA reauthorization. While Congress recently approved a stopgap spending bill to fund the government through November 17, they also passed a short-term FAA reauthorization authorization extension that expires at the end of the year. We're using this time between now and then to aggressively lobby so that our priorities are addressed in the bills moving forward. Special interests are trying to force an agenda that does not serve the interests of our members, impeding the progress of critical legislation and depriving the agency of funding and policy direction that it desperately needs. The second thing I'd like to highlight is a recent nomination of Michael Whitaker, as Jason talked about, to serve as the next FAA administrator. In his remarks, as Jason said, Michael has highlighted that he recognizes that the most important safety feature on any aircraft is the presence of two highly trained, qualified, and well-rested pilots on the flight deck. Whitaker is actively aware of the critical importance of safeguarding our current pilot safety training regulations and has indicated that he is committing to preserving the current first officer qualification, experience, and training requirements. Both Whitaker's nomination and the ongoing struggle over FAA funding could be a factor in any number of issues on which ALPA's air safety organization is currently engaged. These pressing issues demand attention, and they include reduced crew operations. The prospect of reducing the number of crews on the flight deck poses a colossal threat to aviation safety and we can't underestimate the gravity of this situation. I've been concerned about this for the past 10 years. While there's growing support for this concept from certain airlines and manufacturers, driven by new technologies which offer increased automation capabilities, we must continue to make our position clear. ALPA was founded on safety, and it will be our highest priority. While automation and technology undoubtedly offer efficiency and cost savings, they're a tool for our crew members, not a replacement. We cannot allow financial considerations to overshadow the importance of critical safety. Secondly, mandatory pilot retirement age. The idea of increasing the retirement age to 67 is often presented as a solution to challenges we face in our industry, particularly in addressing a perceived pilot supply issue. But increasing the retirement age doesn't fix the problem. Instead, it introduces additional complexities, is unstudied, and we have unanimous BOD direction to oppose a change. We have made it very clear that ALPA is opposed to raising the retirement age and will continue to do so. Additionally, runway safety. In May, ALPA participated in the NTSB roundtable discussion convened by NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy. This gathering brought together safety experts from various sectors, including industry, labor, and government, to delve into the pressing concerns surrounding runway incursions and recent near misses. A number of recent high-profile incidents prompted the aviation community to reevaluate safety measures and explore possible solutions. The key takeaway is that whatever solutions are brought forward, the essential element will always be to have at least 2 qualified, experienced, and well-rested pilots on the flight deck. 5G interference. ALPA continues to engage on this spectrum issue and its potential interference with aircraft radar altimeters resulting from the implementation of 5G technology. We remain engaged and will continue to work diligently to safeguard aviation safety and mitigate potential risks. I'd like to share a recent story that highlights the effectiveness of ALPA's safety advocacy issues. In May, voters in Tempe, Arizona, were asked to vote on a proposal to develop a $2.3 billion entertainment district near the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. ALPA raised concerns multiple times in advance of the vote, which included speaking at public meetings and letter writing. ALPA also submitted a letter that was co-signed by Jason and me, which was included in the Tempe voter guide. The voter guide was sent to all Tempe households where registered voters reside. We raised concerns about the potential development's proximity to the airport and the potential impact it could have on the safety of flight operations. I'm very pleased to report that proposition related to the project was voted down. The outcome represents a significant victory not only for ALPA, but for all of those who prioritize safety over economic interests. It serves as a testament to the effectiveness of ALPA's advocacy and a reminder that ALPA's voice is loud and clear on issues regarding aviation safety. ASO security volunteers have been busy as they continue to stay on top of various security-related issues, which include several topics. I'll start with in-flight crimes on passenger aircraft, which continue to be a significant issue of concern. Picking up where we left off in May, when I reported on ALPA's in-flight crime symposium, we hosted a panel at the recent Air Safety Forum in Chicago. ALPA brought together representatives from the TSA, the FAA, the FBI to discuss persistent challenges associated with criminal behavior aboard aircraft, including unruly passenger incidents, law enforcement jurisdiction, and continued support of the FFDO program. ALPA remains fully engaged with its aviation security partners to confront these challenges and is actively lobbying Congress for increased funding for the FFDO program. Next is flight deck barriers. Jason covered flight deck barriers, and ALPA, of course, is proud to support the Cargo Flight Deck Security Act, which requires all cargo aircraft to be equipped with intrusion-resistant flight deck doors. Moving on to known crew member, ALPA continues to meet with TSA officials to address KCM issues. In recent discussions, the TSA has confirmed their plan to enhance KCM by taking ownership of the program. The new details, as they become available, will share them about the upcoming transition on what the TSA is calling Enhanced Crew Access, or ECA. Please encourage your security chairs to send any KCM concerns to the ASO Security Group, as well as the TSA, so we can continue to document the issues we're seeing with KCM. On to RAPBAC. ALPA has shared its concerns with the TSA about implementation of RAPBAC, Record of Arrest Prosecutions, the system. During these conversations, ALPA has voiced concerns about how RAPBAC information could potentially be misused by airlines and HR departments. ALPA wants to ensure that the system is implemented in a manner that aligns with members' rights and protects their interests. ALPA's ASO Security Group continues to engage with stakeholders and is working diligently to address any potential challenges or unintended consequences that may arise from the use of this system. If you're experiencing any issues with RAPBAC at your airline, please contact the ASO Security Group. And finally, on the security front, cybersecurity. ALPA also recently published a cybersecurity white paper in partnership with the Aerospace Industries Association. The paper outlines a shared understanding of cybersecurity challenges facing the industry and identifies strategies to address them effectively. We hope that by combining our expertise and insights, we can collectively work toward enhancing cybersecurity measures and protecting aviation from emerging threats. ASO jump seat volunteers continue to see success as they work to address issues related to jump seat policies. Flight Finder searches through the ALPA app have surpassed 4 million queries since the initial launch of the service. In July alone, there were 235,368 searches, establishing a new monthly record and highlighting the demand for reliable jump seat information. And that wasn't just Quincy searching. ALPA's ASO continues to make training opportunities available to members who are present and interested in contributing their time and expertise through volunteer work within the organization. Training opportunities are available across all 4 pillars of the ASO structure, including safety, security, jump seat, and pilot assistance. ALPA believes that investing in the training and development of our members is not only an investment in our organization, but in the future of our profession. These training sessions are scheduled throughout the year and serve as an entry point for more engagement within ALPA and the volunteers who carry out the important work of the ASO. I'd like to say a few words about ALPA's efforts to influence policy decisions both here in the U.S. and in Canada. Engaging with your elected representatives is critical to making sure that line pilots have a voice in policy-making process. In June, I attended ALPA's annual legislative summit and visited with members of Congress on Capitol Hill. The pilots who made the rounds with me to congressional offices did a fantastic job of explaining ALPA's positions and conveying our concerns. This was our opportunity to educate these elected officials about pending legislation that is of paramount importance to airline pilots. Among the issues discussed was the necessity to maintain first officer qualifications, the safety threat posed by reduced crew operations, and ALPA's support for Fair and Open Skies Act, which would ensure that labor standards and fair competition remain at the forefront of our international aviation agreements. As you know, one of my responsibilities is to serve as ALPA's Political Action Committee Treasurer. I'm pleased to report that ALPA PAC continues to demonstrate record-breaking trends and outstanding performance. This is, of course, with regard specifically to U.S. ALPA members, as the government of our Canadian siblings to the north doesn't have a similar PAC system. Over the past year, ALPA PAC has seen substantial growth. We had more than 13,300 individual donors at the end of last year, but that's not enough. We need more. Additionally, at the end of August, we surpassed 14,350 donors, representing an increase in member engagement. During ALPA's recent legislative summit, ALPA introduced, as Jason indicated, a new PAC level, the Benke 1931 Club. Since then, the Benke 1931 Club has made a remarkable progress, with membership rapidly growing from 0 to 88 members in this very short time, and we need more. I would encourage you to consider the Benke 1931 Club if you're a U.S. member and can afford to contribute. ALPA PAC is in excellent shape, and our growth trajectory supports that we are poised to exceed records in member participation and in fundraising. Additionally, we're working diligently to build relationships with strong ALPA pilot advocates on both sides of the aisle here in the U.S. We've seen firsthand that we must continue to speak up for ourselves to everyone as we build stronger ties where there are pilot partisan champions. Our current partisan split is 52-48, emphasizing the importance of building sustained support for ALPA-backed issues, regardless of political affiliations. If you're a pilot here in the U.S., and if you're not already a member, please do join and consider the 1931 Club. I encourage all of you as leaders to promote ALPA PAC with your pilots as well. And while ALPA PAC is part of our government's U.S. relations strategy, our effort in pilot engagement in Canada is also expanding. If you're able to participate in last month's Parliament Hill Day, I encourage you to get a Pilot Advocate ribbon to show your support for all ALPA's advocacy issues. Lastly, I'd like to express my deep gratitude and admiration for Keith Hagee, who recently retired as ALPA's Director of Engineering and Air Safety after 37 years. Keith's technical expertise, his steadfast commitment, and exceptional leadership have played an integral role in establishing ALPA as the foremost aviation authority on issues regarding aviation safety, and an unrelenting advocate for every pilot who flies a line. Following Keith's departure, Stacy Bechtold has taken over as Director of Engineering and Air Safety. Stacy's achievements are truly exceptional, including her participation on various aviation rulemaking committees. Under Stacy's leadership, ALPA will continue to thrive as the world's largest non-governmental aviation safety organization. This critical staff leadership transition took place just as ALPA was preparing for its 67th Annual Air Safety Forum in Chicago. Of course, ALPA has always had strong ties to Chicago, dating back to its founding there in 1931. And because I've spent my career with United in Chicago for the past 38 years, it was especially great to play a part in planning and hosting this year's forum. We attracted more than 800 registrations and received very positive feedback. This included 2 days of private meetings where our ASO did the work of the association, followed by our 2-day public forum, which included government and industry leaders from the United States and Canada talking about the importance to safety, security, pilot assistance, and jump seat. Coverage of this event is in the latest Airline Pilot magazine and also in a podcast Jason and I recently recorded. It's noteworthy that the venue we chose to host the forum was the same location as the 1944 International Civil Aviation Conference. Nearly 80 years ago, approximately 700 representatives from 54 nations came together and negotiated the 1944 Convention on International Civil Aviation, a landmark agreement that created the framework for the development of modern air commerce. That agreement established what would eventually become ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization. It was quite an inspiration to gather this year against that historical backdrop and in the very room that the 1944 convention was held, as we discuss current issues relating to safety, security, pilot assistance, and jump seat, and some of the challenges that we face today in our profession. I can tell you that the spirit of collaboration that characterized the 1944 Chicago Convention still resonates. Finally, I'd like to thank Tyler for his dedication to moving our association forward and for his thoughtful, ethical decision-making. He is the finest example of ALPA leadership now and in the future. In conclusion, it's a pleasure to serve this association as ALPA's first Vice President and National Safety Coordinator. It's a privilege to help guide this union along with you and all my fellow national officers through this critical period in our industry and our profession. Thank you for your time and attention.